There's far too many of these ghost bikes around the city, and thanks to our premier Doug Ford, there's about to be a whole lot more. And of course that will be an extremely sad and unfortunate sight, but when you elect an idiot, what else do you expect? And this is the intersection of Bloor and St. George. A newly redesigned intersection that is a response to that cyclist death that occurred here as a flatbed truck was making a turn from St. George eastbound onto Bloor Street and took the life of that cyclist. And just a few blocks east of here, there's been several more deaths at the hands of motorists in recent years. So needless to say, these protected bicycle lanes have been a godsend, not just to the safety of those riding around the city, but they've also been a boon to local businesses, and they've provided a host of other benefits, while not negatively impacting congestion. But today, the province of Ontario passed the Reducing Gridlock, Saving Your Time Act, which will grant the province the powers to rip these bike lanes out at the city's expense, and they'll be shielded from any liability for any death that occurs wherever they've removed bike lanes. But anywho, it is Monday, November 25th, 2024. It is 4 degrees Celsius, and today we're going to go for a walk down St. George Street, and then south of College, that'll become Beverley Street, and then we're going to get to Queen Street West, and I'm going to head over to Mountain Equipment Co-op. I've got an item for pickup there as we get another look at this Dutch-style intersection. You can see how it provides extra protection for cyclists and pedestrians. This is the first of its kind in the city, and it took quite a while to implement. And this intersection is just south of St. George Station. And sits along the northern end of the University of Toronto St. George campus. St. George also featuring bike lanes. So it's well utilized by students, as well as many residents of the Annex neighborhood and the surrounding areas, of course. And the cold weather is upon us. I was actually on this stretch of St. George yesterday as the the Santa Claus parade was running down St. George between Bloor and Hoskin. St. George Street here is a prominent north-south thoroughfare, and it starts downtown at Bloor and College, and it runs north up to DuPont. And there's a neat view of 1 Bloor West starting to rise. There's a lot of food trucks along here. And you can see with the high number of pedestrians the importance of bike lanes and traffic calming measures. One could sit here with a camera by these stop signs all day and just watch traffic roll right through. There's probably the most prominent building on St. George Street to the right, Robarts Library. It's an example of brutalist architecture. It was recently expanded a few years ago, and the new section doesn't quite match the old design. But the university is just a few years shy of being 200 years old. It's one of 3 major universities in the city. I think it's safe to say it's the largest and most prominent university in the entire country. You'll see a number of different architectural styles on St. George. You'll see Gothic Revival, Modernist, and Romanesque designs, particularly in the university's older buildings. There's another look up at Robarts. There's quite a bit of construction there on the southwest corner of that intersection. And to the right is Harvard Street. And on the left side it is Hoskin, and that runs over to Queen's Park. We'll get another look at that monument to brutalism. There's a little under 17,000 faculty at this school. There's 2 other major campuses, one in Mississauga and one in Scarborough. But when you think U of T, this is the one that usually comes to mind. Cafe Inn. There's going to be bike lanes all the way down to Queen Street. It's an example of the kind of fractured and disconnected bike lane network that has been getting built out quite a bit in recent years. At least up until this recent roadblock. I'm going to a store called Mountain Equipment Co-op. As you may be aware, if you've seen my other videos, I primarily wear barefoot shoes. But there is another kind of shoes I like to wear by a brand called Ultra. And my current Ultra Escalants have started to rip at the back of the heel, leading to some discomfort. And the new model is out, and they're quite pricey, but they're on sale this week at Mountain Equipment Co-op. They weren't on sale at Altitude Sports or Amazon or anywhere else online. So I saw them for it should be around $80 off in total. So I ordered a pair for pickup on Saturday. And I got the notice late yesterday that they were ready for pickup. I probably just could have showed up and got them. There's a map of U of T. There's rain in the forecast. I've got this tiny umbrella. It's not one of my new ones in my back pocket, just in case. Debating crossing the street, but we'll keep going south here. And just up ahead is College Street. That's the Galbraith Building, Faculty of Applied Science and Engineering. I didn't go to U of T, I went to York University, which is in Toronto, but quite a bit north of here. There's the U of T bookstore. Sidewalk closed. Pedestrians use other side. Pedestrians, please play Frogger and cross. Feel a lot safer walking in a bike lane than in a traffic lane, that's for sure. What is that Honda doing? Or rather, the driver of that Honda doing? I think it says all you need to know that the side of that car has a nice dent in it. College Street has protected bike lanes. Well, they're kind of semi-protected. And this stretch, as they're only curb separated, and now we're on Beverley Street. This is mostly residential. Although a lot of these homes date back to the late 1800s. And a lot of them have been granted heritage status. There's someone who shouldn't have a license, or at least a man whose driver shouldn't be licensed. Parking in a bike lane, blocking vulnerable road users. If you're gonna park illegally, just park in the lane itself and put your four-ways on. And there's the Polish Combatants Association. That's primarily for Polish Canadian veterans of World War II. It's also a Canadian, or a Royal Canadian Legion branch. It's definitely a lot quieter than St. George Street. And to the south of here at Dundas is the Italian consulate. On the left, the world champion rower Ned Hanlon lived here from 1892 to 1908. And that house there, I believe that's the Second Empire style, they call it. That's the George Brown House. You may have heard of George Brown University. I think that would go back to the 1870s. Feel free to fact check me. I'm basing that off memory. We welcome you to our worship service. There's a public school. Well, that's the Chinese Presbyterian Church. Cornerstone Preparatory School. This is Darcy Street, and you'll notice Chinese characters on the street signs. As this is connected to Chinatown, which is mostly just to the west of here. That's Hayden Park School. And I think this home here is the old Cawthra House. And a property dating back to the 1800s. Same goes for this one. And most of the homes in this style. And there it is, the Italian consulate. This is Dundas Street West. I think that car turning right got honked at for yielding to a pedestrian. What else is new? Just killed him already. I want you out of my way. Chinatown to the right, art gallery to the left, and we are in the Grange Park neighborhood. Grange Park itself coming up on the left. There's a view of the top of the CN Tower from about the top end of the observation deck and upwards. And that's the Beverley Street Eston House. It's one of the older properties on this street. That one goes back to the 1850s. We've got a sign, private property, trespassers will be prosecuted in front of it. Good luck getting the police to respond to that call. On the left is Grange Park with OCAD University floating behind it. I mentioned there's 3 major universities in Toronto: York, Ryerson, or I guess TMU as it's now called, and the University of Toronto, but there's several colleges, or then colleges, that have university status now, but they're not really universities in the traditional sense. OCAD being one of those. There's a number of prominent sculptures in the park as well. And this park features a Georgian manor on its north end that's been incorporated into the Art Gallery of Ontario. So my cold fingers fail to work the touchscreen properly. And that, I think, goes back to 1817. There's the Chinese Baptist Church of Toronto. So Mountain Equipment Co-op is just to the right at Queen Street. It used to be located a few blocks south, down on King Street West. But I think around 2019, they closed the King Street store and moved into a new space on Queen, where there was formerly a parking lot. Maybe we'll move that out of the bike lane. I didn't see any bins to move it into.
Right.
But Mountain Equipment Co-op is an outdoor and active sportswear chain. It originated in BC back in the early 70s. I think they've got around 22 stores in Canada. I've never been a member there. In fact, I almost never shop there, but they happen to have the thing I'm looking for at the right price. I remember the day masking was lifted in Ontario during the pandemic. That was the first retail store I went into. I had to use the bathroom. And I had a mask in my pocket, and I saw a guy walk in without one, and I was like, oh yeah. So that's changed. It's really my last memory of going there. And if you ride your bike down Beverley Street, it spits you out here at Queen Street. I'm getting smacked in the head by raindrops now. I think my timing might have been just right. I'm not going to record much inside the store. I'll let you know how the pickup went. Gift at the Outdoors Spark Adventures. Maybe I'll go take a look at the shoes first. I think I need to go to the back. There we go, footwear. There's my Escalante 3s.
I'd say Sergeant is my go-to recommendation. Yeah, a good hiker. I've got a pair myself, and they're so comfortable.
All right, unless I am blind, I don't think they have the 4s listed, but I'm gonna see if I can try on a pair and I'll come back. So they didn't have a pair to try on, so I just picked mine up. Oops. There they are. Zero drop, wide toe box. I did try these ones on. They fit really well. And I really like the redesign. They are quite sharp. Very friendly and efficient service as well.
Santa Claus.
Make sure my audio is still recording. Well, since it's not raining that hard, you might as well go back to, or over to, the subway station. We'll backtrack a block here and I'll keep going. Those were $125 plus tax. And I am going to put an awful lot of mileage on them. Although since they're new, I probably won't wear them out in inclement weather. And they'll still play second fiddle to my barefoot shoes, but when you walk for a living, having a lot of the right kind of footwear is important. It's kind of like when you ride your bike, being in a bike lane is important. There's a vehicle that doesn't quite, or the driver doesn't quite understand the concept of stopping behind the line. The only reason he even stopped is because he saw me walking.
I don't want to.
This is John Street coming up. This will lead up to Grange Park. Eyewear Cafe. Holy Cow Steakhouse. Garden View Pizza. All the stores around here have changed quite recently. And there used to be a Starbucks across the street. Handcrafted French food, self-serve French cuisine. That'll be interesting. There's a look south down John Street and the old Chum building. Someone rocking her bubble umbrella. That'd be a great place to stop for a bite and a drink. This is McCall Street. Oysters, $1. So I'm gonna hop on the subway at Osgood Station and go southbound and ride around the loop and head all the way up to Yonge and Eglinton. Like I was contemplating running the red light. It is windy. This is University and Queen Street. It's pretty quiet on the streets. It's 4:30, so the afternoon rush hour should be underway. All right, time to hop on a southbound train that will become a northbound train. And I hope you enjoyed this one. Do let me know your thoughts and comments down below. If you wish to support what I do on YouTube, there's links to my Patreon and YouTube channel membership down in the description. As a noisy train rolls in and interrupts us. I've got an Instagram account I almost never update at Johnny Strides, and there is a super thanks button appearing down below if you wish to say thanks that way. Anywho, got my shoes. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.